Hello and welcome to Hoteliers Voice, the Stratford-Upon-Avon edition of the Roundtable Roadshow. This is one packed podcast as we're joined by a number of the experts that presented on the day. So, what do we have in store? I'll tell you. We'll hear about a year in the making as Harpreet Saluja explains his reason for purchasing King's Court Hotel and what's happened at the property since. David Hayward from Oracle, our platinum sponsor, looks at independent hotels and digital transformation. Sian Smith joins us from Shakespeare's England, looking at regional insights for the hospitality industry. Alessandra Leone talks about leaking money with your IT infrastructure. And then we're also joined from Declan Bloomer, the head of systems and support at Celtic Collection, as he explains how they went about digital transformation to grow and scale. Included is also our partner, Hosper, as they explain membership and the opportunities for hoteliers.
Hoteliers Voice. Exploring opportunity in hospitality with Ryan Haynes. Hear from the people making a difference. From revenue to operations, marketing to digitalization, learn the thinking behind their decisions.
Harpreet, it's great to see you again, and I have spent the night at the hotel and you to accommodate us here for this event. Not our first time. I mean, we met first at one conference, and you also came to my first ever Roundtable Roadshow that I did, I think, in London. What was sort of the reasoning for you wanting to sort of be part of the Roundtable Roadshow?
I think what we learned, or what I particularly learned from your first roundtable, was a lot of insights, which I think was quite useful for myself, and I think which I shared with my team when I was employed by somebody at that point. So I thought it'll be good for a local region here, which since owning a hotel for a year now, I'm not seeing something happening within this vicinity, or I might have missed. So I thought, let's host something and give it back to the region.
Now let's go into your story of this owning the hotel for the last year. So your first hotel.
Yeah.
What was that journey like to go from, okay, I want a hotel, let's find a hotel, I found a hotel?
So it's always been a dream. And again, anybody working in the industry always, I think, some point want to own something or run their own business. And being a business entrepreneur since my family days and everything, it was always a thought to own something. We've been looking for a hotel for the last 4 to 5 years. Every hotel we went to had that feeling to it. And once we entered this hotel, it was October 2024, sat right outside there, and all my partners as well said, this is the hotel we want to buy. And that's where it started. I think this hotel was sold to somebody else. And because we were so interested and the owners were so vested with us, they said, we want to give this hotel to you. So they pulled the deal off there and sold it to us.
Fantastic.
It was a good thing.
Well done. So 12 months in, what have been your priorities?
I think when we saw the hotel, this hotel was in the family for 35 years who owned them. And you could see the opportunity in the hotel. There were so low-hanging fruits where you can fix straight away and you could see the immediate action. The priorities has been just to, you could clearly see where it was. It had reached its peak running an independent hotel. So we bought a soft brand in. It helped gearing with revenues coming in, corporates coming in. That's what we wanted. And we could see already everyone's suffering Q1, and we have grown Q1, which is, I think when I said to people that I'm growing in Q1, is people are surprised that you've grown where people are going backwards. So like little things we have done, like adding technology to building. I think Andrew's here, who's added locks to our hotel. Again, that was the greatest addition. We have added CCTVs, which was the biggest concern for the corporates coming in. There was no security in the building. So little touches have made a big difference.
I mean, so you can't just walk into a hotel and expect it to operate the way you want it to. You have to make those adjustments based on, I guess, the brands that you want to deliver. What would you say, how would you describe sort of the brand and style of King's Court Hotel?
I think it's an independent, I won't say it's a boutique hotel, but it's touching to that edge. Our bedrooms are, again, if whoever's experienced it, one of the largest bedrooms you can ever go to. I think it's 25 square meter minimum. The sizes are usually go to a 4-star hotel, touching around 16 square meters. So sizes of bedrooms. Product was in a good shape. I think what I would say is independent boutique-ish hotel.
And you're part of the Best Western.
Correct, yes.
What was the decision on that, and how does it help?
Best Western helps in a way, I don't know if anybody knows, but there is no brand. At the moment, a lot of brands are going towards that one, but Best Western offers you a soft brand where you can keep your individuality, whereas you have the power engine at the back to get your revenue engine moving. So that's what from my past experience, I learned that having a soft brand will help you move revenue quickly.
Excellent. Now, obviously, you've made a point about the current market. You've been successful so far, but what are your concerns at the moment? What are you sort of keeping your eyes on?
I think the cost pressures which everyone's feeling. Business rates have gone up. This April, wages have gone up, so cost pressures are definitely one of the big things. And plus, growing market scarcity of if the people are not spending, the corporates are not spending, they're not going to come back. Businesses are going to pull back on spending on travels and everything. So those are the worries for future, definitely.
Excellent. Now, Harpreet, we've got an extended podcast that's going to be coming to us, as well as a video tour of the hotel. So anybody listening and everybody here in this audience can check that out when that gets published. Mm-hmm. But thank you ever so much for hosting us here. It's been a wonderful journey so far.
It's been our pleasure. And again, if you want to host again, be here again.
Thank you very much. Right, up next, we've got David Hayward from Oracle Independent Hotel Market. So looking at what's happening there. So with a 20-year industry perspective, we explore where the independent hotel market is today and how hotels can realize the value of new technologies and drive their transformation. So you've been with Oracle for a couple of decades now. You've seen how the industry is shape-shifting a little bit. Where would you say, David, are the key drivers for hotels looking at really trying to transform their business?
I've been with Oracle for about 22 years now, so I've been around for a while. I think key drivers from a technology point of view is obviously keeping up with sort of the times, keeping up with technology. There's a lot of hotels that are still using on-premise technologies, and that obviously gives a lot of issues with kind of keeping current, moving on the rapid sort of times and movement. So it's important. I think we've sort of adopted cloud quite heavily, and I imagine a lot of people in the room have. But by adopting cloud, that really gives you the option to be current. There's limited sort of resources around sort of hardware and stuff like that, so it really does kind of keep the ability to kind of keep current and stay on top of your game, and obviously give your sort of customer experience the most sort of top-notch technology from a technology perspective.
I mean, it's interesting because obviously they've got the big global brands who have huge amounts of money to invest, but they also got huge IT teams at the same time to be able to support that transformation. The PMS is regarded as the beating heart of the hotel, and who wants to do heart surgery? So what are the barriers that you see for hoteliers when it comes to looking at making that change or investing wider in their systems and tech stack?
I mean, for independent hotels, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you've got a sort of limited budget, you haven't got an IT team, you haven't got advisors, and ultimately it comes down to, do I refurbish a bedroom or do I put in a new TV system, as you said, or a new PMS system? So it's a very tough one. There's also sometimes resistance. You've got people in the hotel that use the same PMS for 20 odd years, but it's sat on a server in the corner somewhere, whirring away, waiting to crash, basically. So I think, there's resistance from the team, there's resistance from the cost perspective. From our perspective, what we're trying to do now is, we're big in the corporate sector, but we're also quite big in the independent sector, which isn't always known to sort of their independent market. What we're focusing now on with cloud is obviously making it cost effective to have Opera, one of the biggest kind of PMS systems in the world, available for independent hotels. So we're kind of reducing down the actual sort of implementation time. We're putting sort of standard implementation, so we can kind of almost like have an out-of-the-box implementation, allowing you guys not to have to think too much about the config and the process of actually going live. We have migration tools, and the way we actually charge for Opera now is much cheaper now. So it's a software as a service basis. There's no interface fees. You're not having to buy expensive hardware. You're not having to invest in kind of configuration. The software, the support, the upgrades are all part of that ongoing fee. So it makes a huge difference for independent hotels.
And how are they thinking about the guest experience?
Yeah, I think you've got to think of the guest experience now. From in the past, it was kind of you only really cared about the guests when they were in the hotel, when they walked through the door and when they sort of left. But really, you have to kind of think about the guest experience from the very beginning now, from the time they book the room to the time they leave and get a sort of review. So it needs to be sort of frictionless. Customers of today aren't really willing to kind of wait around. They don't want to be faffing around with complex booking engines. They don't want to be, talking to people in some cases. Youngsters from today, they just want to do everything on WhatsApp or on their mobile phone. So I think it's about kind of giving that frictionless check-in experience through to going into the bar, being able to maybe order from a QR code, to check out online, to do your review online. I think it's really about kind of allowing us to work with all ages and sort of adapt to the sort of modern hotelier or customers that are coming into the market.
Excellent, David. Thank you very much indeed.
No problem at all.
Fast-paced, eh? And now on to a new partner of ours, but not a stranger by any means. So Hosper, Amanda Brown, Head of Membership. We're going to be looking at really, UK membership organisation and the benefits to professionals here. Mm-hmm. So just tell us, those who don't know, what is Hosper?
So Hosper is the Hospitality Professionals Association. In one guise or another, we've been around for about 55 years. So it's been out there for a long time, supporting the industry, and it's at our heart. Everything we do is at our heart. Our key is to bring sort of those senior members into Hosper, and whereby we'll give them the opportunity to network and to attend events and to mingle with their peers, really. Give them an opportunity, a little bit like today, where you can just get in a room and have a good old natter with people that know what you're talking about.
So you can go to the events, mm-hmm. But why be a member?
I think that I would say with Hosper, I've known Hosper a long time from the other side, not working with Hosper, but on the other side. And I think the thing that Hosper really does is it brings people together. It's a real community. And we do have your best interests in heart. It's a non-profit organisation. We're not out to, skim you for money. We are. It's a complimentary membership for those in a senior role. And I just think that for someone, whether you've been in the industry for a long time or whether you're new to the industry, we've got something for everyone. So if you don't know people, it's a fantastic opportunity to meet people like yourself and learn from them and build your networks.
Amanda, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I would like to welcome up Sian Smith. You are from Shakespeare's England as we look at the regional travel and tourism marketing campaigns. Firstly, what is Shakespeare's England?
Okay, so Shakespeare's England are what is known as a DMO, which is the Destination Management Organisation or Marketing Organisation. We're officially recognised by Visit Britain, the National Tourist Board, and we work very closely with them and with Visit England as the official DMO for South Warwickshire and the surrounding area. So that is that area. It could be of a political boundary, but essentially we're looking at Stratford-Upon-Avon, Warwick, Leamington, Spa and Kenilworth as our key towns, and then we're the surrounding smaller towns and villages as well.
They're very fancy places.
It's a beautiful part of the world to
Isn't
live
it
in.
just?
Yes, we're very lucky.
Now, what are some of the regional trends that you're actually seeing at the moment? Okay,
so tourism figures are renowned for, they come in a bit later than you would probably wish them to be. So we're currently, our latest published figures are from 2024, which I appreciate is like a million years ago now, in real time. However, what we are seeing is that tourism is still, visits are still rising after the pandemic brought everything to a crashing halt. And we are seeing a rise in revenue and also in day visits, but also in overnight visits as well. But I would say recent events around the world, we are anecdotally now, and we're about to send out some research within our membership to find out if what we think is true, but that obviously people are very much guarding their income too, and being more careful what they're spending. But essentially our job is to, what we're hoping, that we might see a rise in staycations and domestic visits this year. whereas some international visits might drop. However, having spoken to some of our colleagues within the aviation industry recently, we are still seeing visits from London, from Europe, and sort of the short haul destinations. So whilst we might be losing visitors from sort of Dubai and also Dubai and that area is a gateway for the rest of the world. So from Australia as well. So that is a concern, and we are monitoring that. But we do see that there's still opportunity from, like I say, from domestic and short haul tourism.
Now it's about capturing people's attention, and bringing them to this area. So, how do you compete with others in the country? You run campaigns. What are the campaigns, and how can hotels tap into these?
So we work really closely with our members. So I didn't explain, we are a membership organisation. So we're partly public sector funded by our local councils, and also we're private sector funded as we're a membership organisation. We work really closely with our members. And we've recently, I would say over the past 2 years, I've seen a massive growth in our social media activity, and we've really focused on how we can drive visits and identified our key audiences. So on all of the different channels, so on Facebook, TikTok, and working to develop content that really showcases what it is like to experience Shakespeare's England. We're working to bring that overseas tourism into the destination and encouraging them to. We're taking your products or our members' products to them, because not everybody can afford to go overseas. So that's one of the massive benefits of working with us, where we actually go over there as your representative, and we're trying to encourage those group visits, those FITs to come over here, and also and MICE business as well, to come here and experience Shakespeare's England. So those are sort of our key domestically social media, but then in person overseas.
Lovely. Sian, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
We're going to be hearing from our gold sponsor, Focus on Hospitality, with Alessandra Leone, looking at achieving value from IT infrastructure. Thank you for coming back for another set. Alessandra, yes, led our sponsorship for the first set of roundtables. So you're here with Stratford-Upon-Avon, then we're off to Kent, then to Kensington, London. So where are hotels leaking money with IT infrastructure at the moment, Alessandra?
Well, there is a lot that needs to be said. As part of these roundtables, I've been speaking with a lot of hoteliers, and then we carried out some audits with those hoteliers. And it seems like we are very led by the new shiny tools. We talk about AI a lot today, but then we don't go back and look at what underpins all that technology. So you may have the new shiny app and the AI and the cloud-based systems, but then are you operating with them at the maximum and benefiting from all the functionality? If your infrastructure is not correct, then you may not have a secure environment where all this cloud-based technology sits in. And then is the connectivity up to speed, because they all need power and bandwidth to be able to support. I've spoken with a lot of hoteliers that have installed the flashy new PMS, and they're waiting for that to solve the issue, which it does. It's important that we have the right tools to operate. But then if they're slow because you don't have enough bandwidth or enough connectivity coming through the building, it affects the way the teams work. It affects your guest experience, and you keep firefighting those emergencies. And the right foundation is the one that sits in the background, that is unseen, and it doesn't add friction to what you're trying to achieve. And if it doesn't add ultimately commercial value, and I find that a lot of hoteliers, having spoken with quite a lot with you over the past 6-7 months, it's all about the fundamental question: what's your strategy, what you're trying to achieve? Or the server is breaking, you need to replace it, but what's your long-term strategy for that equipment to amortize that investment? I was talking just yesterday with one of our hoteliers from the New Forest roundtable, and she was like, well, we are replacing the server, we're finally going to the cloud. And some of the question that we were asking her was very much, we didn't think of that. So yes, you're making this investment now, but in 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, then you're going to have to relook at how you've set it up, because you haven't asked yourself the right questions, and the partner perhaps that you're working with does not have the skill set of both the technology side and the hospitality side to understand what your operational needs are.
I mean, when you're going through change, there's always an element of flux, right? And evolution. And where your end goal is to where you are now, know that you probably need to evolve incrementally. So let's say we look at bandwidth for connectivity, for an instance. You might only need a certain amount now, but then in a couple of years' time, you'll need more. But can you have flexibility in that? So you know that in 3 or 4 months' time, okay, let's increase it, let's adjust it down, because there is a worry of over-investing, paying out for something you're not using.
Technology has evolved so much over the past 10 years that is available in a way that you can scale up. You don't have to make this big, huge investment at once, but you have to make the right investment with your strategy in mind, knowing that something may change tomorrow. You've seen guest expectation changes consistently over the past 10, 15 years. Now a guest comes with 3, 4, 5 devices. They have their work phone, their personal phone, they have a laptop, they have a tablet. So their behavior has changed. You need to be able to flex to that. If you are heavily influenced, your revenue is heavily influenced by your MICE business, then that outcome changes what you need to set up. So technology can be done in a way where the investment is fit for purpose, so you can amortize it on the long term commercially. That allows you to scale and flex it as you need it.
And one of the unique things that I've always found about working with Focus is the fact that the support that's on offer. It's not remote. You're not calling another country. You've got an office potentially down the road, and so people can come to visit. How important is that specifically for the hospitality industry?
Oh, it's absolutely probably the most important things that I'm sharing. Obviously, my background is I've been an hotelier up until basically a year ago. I'm still the hotelier in the room at Focus. Focus is a very large company, and I'm leading the hospitality vertical. And part of my job is to ensure we provide the right solution to the right type of operations, but also internally to bridge the gap between the technical skill set and the hoteliers, to ensuring that we know the operation, we know those pain points, and we know that one hotel is not the same as another. So it's not kind of an approach of spray and pray that will work. It's something that we understand the chain business and the brands and the independent and how those aspects actually differentiate what you need from what you need, so that we can propose a solution that actually resolve a problem. Is not just technology for technology's sake. And that's something that we are seeing the trend currently, the new shiny tool, the new app, the new platform. See what you got, understand what you're trying to resolve, what will improve your team experience in allowing them to provide the human-led hospitality away from the admin task that will allow them to lock eyes with the guests coming in and really delivering that hospitality rather than being preoccupied, or have I done all my checklist. All those elements now can be automated, but you need to understand what are you trying to achieve as a brand, what you're trying to achieve as your guest journey, what you're trying to deliver, so you can actually deliver on that for the guest, so that revenue spikes up. You'll have return guests. You'll generate loyalty. You can at that point look at your profitability, trying to move away the needles from OTAs into your direct channel. It's a very complex questions, and not sure 5 minutes is good to answer. But
it never is with you, Alessandra. It doesn't matter. I could have an hour and a half, and we could get you talking. So up now, we speak to one hotel group that's been going through digital transformation to grow and scale.
Sure. So I'm Declan Bloomer, and I am Head of Systems and Support at the Celtic Collection, a group of properties, sort of 10 hotels, championship golf courses, spas, restaurants. So started with the Celtic Manor Resort, and it has grown from there.
So, yeah, you've been undertaking a digital transformation. Why was the move so imperative? What were the strategic drivers for your business?
Yeah, so we've actually conducted a full sort of overhaul of our tech stack, and obviously that's basically started with the heart of it all, which is the PMS, as we all know. Key for us was removing our legacy dated software to help us improve guest experience and to be able to move our tech strategy forward. So the key drivers were scalability. The properties have grown quite considerably over the last 5 years, the amount we're managing. And some of them have been quick turnarounds with us needing to onboard new properties efficiently, and removing the need to have to increase hardware and servers and backups every time we do that was imperative. Another one for us was having an open API platform, which is something we look at now in all systems, is a must-have so that we can really integrate those and get the best value from them. Reducing our infrastructure, on-premise infrastructure and technical debt. We've been able to do that by moving a lot of these systems to SaaS-based products. Being on an always up-to-date current platform was another key driver for us, with no downtime during those updates, and obviously new features being rolled out all the time, enabling us to continually improve. And then obviously most importantly is the guest experience and how we can improve that. That's always the key driver for us, from booking stage right through to the sort of the guest stay and their experience while they're with us as well.
Now, you're a portfolio of 11, as you say, you're looking at expanding and growing, but would this have been just as important if you were a single independent hotel?
Yes, for sure. I think this is the way that hospitality is going. A lot of the product that we were on was legacy dated software. Even from a security standpoint, we had to get off that anyway. So we would have gone there at some point, any stage. But I think with the growth, that really sort of pushed the need for that.
And I mean, what was the approach that you took for this? Because I mean, I mentioned just a little bit earlier with David that it is like heart surgery for the hotel.
Yeah.
And replacing it. So how did you determine, that sort of approach to implementing it and defining the right partner?
Yeah, so we went through sort of 12, 18 months of review process, reviewed all the options on the market, a lot of on-site demos, Teams demos, Zoom demos, going through sort of our must-haves in a system, and then also, what new things and how we can change processes with whichever partner we chose to go with. Obviously that, as we've said, ultimately ended up being Oracle. They were already a trusted partner of ours, which I think always helps. But they did come out on top in that review process as well.
So, then you had to, obviously you identified someone, then you had to define the timeline for implementation. How did you build that out and make sure that everyone was coming on the journey with you?
Yeah, so we planned for what Oracle were calling the Big Bang migration. I was at the user conference, and I think there was a Scandinavian hotel group, can't remember who it was, it had migrated 70 hotels overnight. So that sort of inspired us and said, well, if they can do it with 70, then we can do it with our sort of 10 properties. So we went for that approach as well. Obviously, there was a lot of planning that went into that. We chose to bring over all of our historical data as well. Obviously, with some tidy up before and after, but that meant that we were able to really cut ties with the old system as soon as the migration was complete. It did mean more downtime, unfortunately, for the teams whilst that historical data was migrated over. So a lot of it was in the planning in terms of weekly calls with our project manager and key stakeholders from the start of the project. We were then planning with training, so all the users went through the e-learning facilities that Oracle have. There was mandatory courses that all users were assigned to, and then they had to complete those mandatory e-learnings before attending the on-site training, which we invested in as well with Oracle. So that just made the on-site training more interactive then, because users had already seen the platform from an e-learning perspective. And then it was planning for that downtime of a few days and how the teams would manage with guests, still being able to take bookings, still being able to take payments in our spa areas, golf areas, without having the posting issues that obviously we would have whilst the PMS was down and couldn't post back to the PMS. So it was a lot of planning that went into that. But it went successfully, and the team were amazing in dealing with that during the downtime as well.
Well done indeed. I mean, you've mentioned the commercial impact of reducing significant costs. Any other commercial impacts that you've noticed, and also what were the operational and staff benefits?
Yeah, so the key commercial sort of benefits have been the reduction we've been able to do in our on-premise hardware from the PMS database application service, but also all the middleware servers that have now been replaced with OHIP connections. So we've really reduced that on-premise infrastructure. So yeah, that's been great. I think there's been some energy savings as well from the amount of service we've removed from our on-site comms rooms.
Excellent. And how have the staff experienced it?
Yeah, the staff have been great. Obviously, as with any system, teething issues to start with, but they've all really embraced the change, embraced the technology. I think they see the benefit with the new users being onboarded and learning the system a lot faster now with the modern platform than they did previously as well.
Thank you very much. And finally, Declan, can I ask you, what advice would you give to hotels who are looking to migrate to the cloud?
I think it's sort of the key is the planning stage, ensuring that you're ready for that, the downtime, ensuring that everything's been considered for that, and trying to minimize the impact on your teams and on your guests as well, most importantly. And then I think the key for us was investing in the training and having the on-site person there, which really got the teams excited and interactive during the training, so that they all embrace the technology from day one now.
David, how should hotels look to approach the cloud migration then?
I think there's a number of different ways you can do it. You can either kind of go like they did at Celtic with a big bang approach. Again, it depends whether you're already on a legacy Opera product or an alternative product. The big bang approach is great because it brings all the data. It actually minimizes all the sort of the live loading and everything else you have to do, but it does mean that all the data that's there is going to come across. So you have to be a little bit careful about the current data and how good is the database and the configuration and everything else. So there's from the sort of that scale all the way through to the start again from scratch, relook at processes, relook at kind of settings, relook at how the hotel is. A lot of the time, the system's been in place for 10 years and the rate codes and the room types and everything else just don't make any sense. Sometimes it just makes sense to start again from scratch. Or there are kind of intermediary ways of, importing reservations, importing profiles and living part and part. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it. I think you really have to look at the data that you've got. How good is that data? And do you want to bring it across, or do you want to start again from scratch? And that's something that at C5, we would discuss typically as part of the sort of sales consultation sort of period. So it's yeah.
And then, Declan mentioned, OHIP. What are the digital expansion opportunities then?
Yeah, so we have a marketplace. So again, one of the things with Opera Cloud is to allow for kind of connectivity and to kind of ease of connection to third-party products, whether it's a kiosk or booking engines or self-check-in or CRM systems. So we have open APIs now, which means anyone can access our APIs. They can build their own tools. They can develop their tool very quickly. So it means a small kind of development company can literally go to our platform, open APIs, develop something, and then kind of join our partnership network and then be listed on that open marketplace. And the marketplace is a little bit like the Apple sort of app store. So you can go on there, you can look for what products you want. You can plug that into Opera. There's no actual fees from us anymore. So again, in the olden days, we would have charged for a setup fee, we would have charged for interfaces. I'm seeing nodding faces around the room. That all goes away with the integration platform, which is what Declan described as earlier. You go onto the marketplace, you look at what you want, you make contact with that vendor. They know the configuration. You just basically give them a user kind of password. They log in and get that set up very quickly. So it allows you to kind of also trial products very quickly. So if they're offering a 30-day free trial, there's no cost from our perspective. You can trial it with them. If it works for you, that's great. You carry on. If it doesn't work, you switch it off and move on to the next thing.
Declan, you're ready to go. Thank you ever so much for your time.
Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
I apologise for the audio at the last part. I did forget to put the microphones on for myself and David Hayward from Oracle when we were speaking to Declan. But I hope you caught the main gist of that, and we'll hope to have more conversations with Declan and David about those digital transformations. Of course, you can be in the audience at the Roundtable Roadshows. Just simply follow us on LinkedIn or subscribe to our newsletter for our next events. You can not only listen to those conversations, but then be part of those conversations in breakout discussions with other hoteliers in the room. Check out our next episode from the Stratford-Upon-Avon edition of the Roundtable Roadshow, where we will hear from some of the Roundtable breakout discussions. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Ciao for now.